So I was originally gonna play the game that I rolled, but then I realized that another game from the same creator of my wheel, so I decided to do them both in one go. If you guys don't know, the creator of these games is Charon, who back in the day was actually pretty well known. They make games that were just pseudo-visual novels, most of them revolving around a specific trope. They actually made 10 games for the RPGmaker engine, which if you guys want me to cover some other time, I'll put Charon on my wheel and I'll do all of the other games in one go. But for now, let's just do these two since they are the only ones on my wheel. And since I rolled the Dark Side of Red Riding Hood first, we'll do that one first, and then we can do Mikoto Nikki. Here we go. My expectations were low for this game, but it's just kind of soul-crushing. It released in 2013 for RPGmaker 2000. This story follows the character of Red Hood as she goes and visits her grandma. The introduction of the game is you talk to your mom telling you that you have to go visit your grandmother. Which if you can't tell, this story is based off of the classic fairy tale that everybody knows. And if you don't know... Huh? How? This game contains some really pretty CG art, which you will find out is the staple for all of Charon's games. They are really good at detailed pixel art. Some things of note of this game before we actually get into the story is the sprite of Red Hood looks off compared to her environment, which is more detailed. But I'm pretty sure this is just a staple of their work. So it's not a real point of criticism, but it's something that you will see looks kinda off. There are also 7 sound effects in total, and one of them is just the 10-second loop of the song. That's the intro theme, but whatever. And this game also lasts less than 20 minutes. None of these have anything to do with the quality of the game, but it's something I do want to point out because it's something that's noticeable when you first play the game. Something that does speak of the quality of the game is, for example, the gameplay. The gameplay is you walking until you get an ending. Like I said, visual novels. And also, if you interact with any item, you will see that they chose the worst fucking possible font imaginable. I legit had to do double takes because I had no idea what it said. On the same level of unreadable as Ghost Summers 2 font. And this game has its full focus on the story. So it being this bad is a huge negative for the entire game. But that hopefully won't be a problem if you decide to play through the game yourself, because apparently, that's not what the actual font is supposed to look like. I watched a friend of mine stream through the game, and they had a completely different font. So something must have been fucked up with my game. It did impact my gameplay experience a bit, but despite that, my opinion on the game stays the same, even with the improved font. Let's get into the story. The story is very simple. You have to go to your grandma's house by following the main path. While walking the main path, you realize that there are a lot of detours. 1 per screen actually, and there are 5 screens. So, 5 detours. Which is, coincidentally, the amount of true endings in the game. Very simple way to do the other endings, and in my opinion, kinda lazy. Either way, let's get to the non-true ending first. You follow the main path and you reach your grandma's house without taking any detours. You reach your house safely, your grandma's happy to see you, and... that's the end. Bad end 1, good girl. Ooh. How the fuck is this bad? You're just chilling with your grandma, what's bad about that? Oh, sorry, I forgot. Of course, it's bad because this is the dark side of Red Riding Hood, and we can't have anything nice. So let's see the other endings. Are you guys ready for the dark side? True end 1. You take the first detour, you reach a flower field where you pick up some flowers before you get to grandma's house safely. You go next to your grandma's bed, you reach into your basket, and you take out an axe. Whoa! You kill your grandma. Ooh, that's shocking. The screen fades to black, and the same intro from the start plays, but this time, your mom tells you that you have to go to grandma's house to take her out. True ending 1. Wow, that was dark. Wow, yeah. This is the ending that has the most substance out of all of them, by the way. So, yeah, really teaches the story, doesn't it? I take one other path, grab some flowers, and now I'm gonna kill my grandma. Logical. Either way, true ending 2. True ending 2, you take the second detour and you get lost in the woods, and you are never found again. That's it. I think this is the best ending because it's the most believable one. And since it's so believable, you don't really have to set up any substance around it. You go to your grandma's house, you take the wrong turn, and you're lost in the woods. Can actually happen, and it's a pretty simple way to do a dark side to the story. Nothing else is needed. It's okay. True ending 3. You take the third detour where you find the hunter. He asks you what you're doing here, you tell him you're on your way to your grandma's, he asks you where your grandma's is, you tell him, and then he tells you to go spend some time around the woods just enjoying the view. Which is nice. Finally head back to your grandma's house, you reach your grandma's house safely, but as you walk inside, you see that, oh my god, grandma's dead! And before you can leave, you see the hunter standing at the door, and you find out that he isn't actually a hunter, but a predator! A child predator. This one is really forced because, wow, yeah. That is very shocking. And like the other one, it has no fucking substance. The hunter kills your grandma and decides to take you by force, for lack of a better term, because he's evil. And it's dark, it's twisted. Like, if I saw this back in 2013, I'd be like, wow, that is really shocking. That's some masterclass writing. You know what? This is going into my folder of best creepypastas so far. Also, I'm 9 years old. Treading for. Fourth detour, you reach your grandma's house safely. Inside the house, you actually get a little speech from Red Riding Hood, you know? That was like, oh, grandma, what big eyes you have, and that on. And it ends with grandma turning out to be a a furry? A furry. Let's go with a furry. And she decides to fucking eat you. Which follows the fairy tale, like, decently close. Except from the part where, you know, the hunter's supposed to come in. But whatever. I also forgot to mention. The ending is called Cannibal, so I think she's actually human. And it was actually all part of your mom's plan. And you were sent there as a sacrifice. Or something. Because it's not explained. Because there's no substance. What can I do? Since this one follows the fairy tale a little bit more, I think it's... But so far, none of the endings I've really been able to say are good. Which is a very bad thing, when 60% of the game is the fucking ending. Anyhow, time for the last ending. True End 5, 5th detour, you arrive to an empty house. And a man stands at the entrance and tells you that you have been... fucking sold into the slave trade. True End 5, human trafficking. What? This one is actually just fucking outlandish, even more than the fucking child predator one. Like, what do you mean? I've been sold into the fucking slave trade. This doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Is it shocking? No, really, I think it's fucking hilarious. You just go to your grandma's house, it's empty, and it just tells you, oh yeah, welcome to human trafficking. What the fuck, that's stupid. And that's it. That's all the endings. I'm not fucking joking. That's it. Shock content can really help the narrative by emphasizing a crucial point of the story, setting the stage for what's to come, or shaping a character. It can also be used for the purpose of flat-out entertainment. That said, it can easily fall flat, making it seem cheap and underserved, or not being able to entertain the audience. An example I can give for it falling flat for me is with Oscar 999. The shocking moments in that were being set up to emphasize a crucial point of the story, but it wasn't handled well due to it coming out of left field and really late to the story. So to me, it went against the overall tone of the game and felt really forced. It tried to make a shift from an important life lesson to attempting to make it a drama with twists and turns. This game is a really weird case. Due to it being mostly a visual novel, its focus is being forced into its narrative. This game has very little substance, even with it borrowing from the Red Riding Hood fairy tale. So for me, the only possible way to make the shocking moments not fall flat is if it tried to help the narrative it's presenting. But that's not what it did at all. Them being locked behind separate endings makes them all feel detached and forces it to be the climax of the story. That is because the focus of these scenes was to entertain, which they fail miserably at. All the moments feel really hollow, and the only one that got a reaction of me was the final ending. Simply because it was fucking stupid. I made a creepypasta joke earlier because that is how low quality and amateurish it feels. And the only positive aspect of the entire game is its CGs, but they're all tied into a piss poor narrative. This is easily the worst game I've played so far. I don't think there was an attempt here. Bottom of my list. Let's hope Mikoto Nikki is better. This game released in 2013 for RPGmaker 2000, and it's the start of their work, and also the start of them using the trope that would end up defining them. That trope being the yandere trope. But in this instance, I'd like to call it the I can fix her trope, simply because I don't think that for this game you can really say she's a yandere, but I can for a fact fix her. This is another visual novel type game which is around an hour long. The assets for the in-game sprites still look off compared to the environment, but I think I will accept it as just this being their style. This time around we have a very clear and readable font. Why the fuck wasn't this the one used in Red Hood? The story follows a student named Motaro, who one day confesses his love to the girl he likes, Mikoto. That's why it's called Mikoto Nikki. He'll talk about the Nikki part later. Mikoto accepts his confession and invites him over for dinner. You accept, go to her house, and while you're waiting for her to prepare dinner, you go and kill some time. You quickly realize that her parents are nowhere to be seen, and after looking around her room, seeing a picture of her with her family where she looks quite unhappy, you find a torn diary piece in her nightstand. On the other side of this torn diary piece, it gives you directions to the next diary scrap. And that's the gameplay of this game. Collect pieces of the diary which will lead you to the next one. Kind of like a scavenger hunt, which is honestly Pretty intriguing, as her writing style changes the more diary pieces you find. That's the Nikki part of the game. Mikoto Nikki. Mikoto's diary. Yeah, to the character video, I kinda like learn Japanese, but only the word Nikki. While collecting scraps, you start to piece together a bit of the story of what's happening. This is what, from my understanding, happened. Mikoto's family was always very neglectful of her and looked down on her. One day, she decides to change up everything and become the perfect daughter, changing her appearance from gloomy to be more cheery and beginning to cook for them every day and also taking care of them. But that didn't change anything. It was still all the same. They still didn't really love her. And that made her snap and made her do something to them. If you don't know what it is for a long time, but it later becomes clear. She trapped their parents inside her closet, where she tries to re-educate them, for lack of a better term. She cooks for them while they're still trapped in the closet, but when one day they start berating her, she decides to teach them a lesson by not feeding them for a week. While you're going around collecting the pieces of the diary, you can interact with Mikoto at any time. You can even ask her what's up with the diary, and she will actually explain it to you and tell you what's going on. Which wasn't necessary at all, but such a small thing is pretty nice to see implemented. Back to the diary. During that time, a boy at school confessed to Mikoto. She had a lot of confessions beforehand, but this one she actually had feelings for. After the week passes, Mikoto goes back to check on her parents to find out that her father died of starvation and that her mother was on the brink of death. Realizing she was in too deep, she locked him up for good. One day she invites the boy that confessed to her over to eat some dinner, where during the duration of his stay, he starts to seem more distant, which ends up culminating into the boy asking and discovering what's inside the closet. He was shocked by what he saw and tried to run away. Unfortunately not fast enough, because Mikoto takes him down and traps him in her closet too. As you collect the final scrap piece, it says that the closet door is open and you can find out the truth yourself. Now for the endings. 3 bad ones and 1 good one. Before we go through the endings, I want to say that, just for the base of the story, it's way better executed and more interesting than the dark side of Red Riding Hood. This game is actually, in my opinion, well written. I'm interested in seeing how this develops, and I like seeing what's being set up. Using the diary pieces as the way for them to tell the story is also pretty cool. Let's go through the endings one by one. The first bad ending consists of you opening the closet door, realizing it's too dark, being smashed for the head by Mikoto, and passing out. The end. Well, should probably have looked for a flashlight. Reload your last save file, which this time around I will mention is a bunny that says the same line in every game he's gonna be in, which I didn't mention in Red Hood because I couldn't fucking read what he said in that game! Find a flashlight, go into the closet where you see what you already knew you were going to see. Mikoto's parents alongside the boy that confessed to her, dead due to starvation. Before you can act, Mikoto walks in and asks you to listen to her story. You agree, and she basically tells you that she tried to be a better person, but even then, her parents wouldn't love her. And the boy that confessed to her could never understand her and tried to run away. She then asks what she will do, which is where the other 3 endings come in. First option. Run away from her house after running for a decent while. She somehow appears behind you even though she wasn't chasing after you. It's implied she either kills you or something else bad like locking you in her closet. Bad end 2. Option 2 is deciding that you will stay by her side forever. Bad choice of words, buddy. She accepts, says she will feed you every day and you will stay with her forever, because she got locked in the fucking closet. Whoopsie. Bad end 3. And now for the final option, and my favorite ending, option 3. Hug her. When you hug her, she kind of breaks down, realizing that she fucked up big time, and the only thing she can do is cry while apologizing. From there you stay with her, figuring that time would slowly heal her wounded heart. A lot of time passes and it's winter. You're playing in the snow with Mikoto, who has a bright smile on her face, as you realize that time has healed her, and that she's no longer broken. You proclaim your love for her one more time, and the game ends. True ending. I really thought that this was a really sweet ending, heartwarming even. I really see why people like this game, and as for the debut game, it's actually pretty good. It's really short, but still able to tell a decently nice story in that time, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. That said, maybe it would be smart to explain what happened to the corpses in the closet. Like, are they still there? Are they gonna decay there? Did they, like, bury them? Like, what's up with that? Like, you're kinda complicit in a murder now just because you didn't do anything, but you know what? That's all the focus of the story, so you know what? I'll give it a pass. And with that, I am deciding to put it above Portominas. It's a very short game, half the length of Portominas, but it's able to tell a pretty nice story. It may not have had, like, the most interesting of gameplays, but it's a visual novel. So I can't really ask for Fear and Hunger type of quality gameplay, since that's not its focus. It's a fine little game, and I'm glad I played it. It's actually really nice. But it's also kinda interesting to see how this was their first game and was really good, and then their third game was Red Riding Hood, which I absolutely fucking despised. So, maybe I should check the other games. If you want me to check the other games, leave 3 likes. Like, if this video gets 3 likes, I'll check out the other Charon games. I got like 20 views per video. I can ask for 3 likes now. Anyhow, on to the next game. Alright, let's hit it. Are you fucking kidding me?